There is a huge shift, quite an emphasis on moving away from any channel other than digital where that's viable. So we are, there's a definite and very, very well supported strategy to move away from any other method of communication towards or customer interaction towards digital. That's for services that lend itself to it. So, of course, the driver, like it is with a lot of local authorities at the moment, is saving money. It's cheaper. Digital transactions are cheaper than face-to-face or telephone transactions. So that's really that's what's driving it. There's also taking account of the demographics at both Wandsworth and I mentioned Richmond earlier on. Our customer bases are quite affluent. They're used to transacting online, in their wider lives, increasingly using mobile devices. They're used to good experiences doing that. We perhaps haven't got the budgets to match the Amazons and the Googles and the Apples of this world, but customers nonetheless have high expectations. The residents of Wandsworth have high expectations. They want to be able to transact in the same way with us. Not just transact, but also collaborate, because transaction is only one aspect of the whole digital piece. It's collaboration as well, how we get away from the old sort of methods of collaboration where we get people in a parish hall and we have councillors that we update that to a more electronic, more digital means as well. Make sure that there's a common understanding of what it is we're actually doing. Most of these big projects are wrong-footed at the start because there isn't a common understanding among all the stakeholders, all the people who have skin in the game about what it is you're trying to achieve. Yeah, and it's important that when we, at the very outset of a big initiative like this, that we actually make sure that people understand what it is we're delivering, because otherwise there'll be different interpretations that will lead to certain people being disappointed because what gets delivered wasn't what they expected. We need to get commitment from not just the IT people, but from the wider business, because ultimately it's their services the IT department is helping deliver in these new different ways. Yeah, business engagement generally in organisations and for IT organisations is a challenge. So we need to ensure that the business is ready to engage with this. We need to get the business to have an appreciation of the art of the possible. Yeah. A lot of our workforce may not know the full potential of digital, so we need to make sure that they understand what that is, because if they don't know that, then there's likely to be missed opportunities. So it's pretty much that, If there's budgets to be agreed, then we need to obviously get a feel for what these things are going to cost. We need to have proper change management in place. Change management's important. IT people normally aren't very good at it, so we'll need to sort of make sure we have proper change management expertise to bring that about. I'm in charge of a fairly massive programme of work, to bring the two councils, to bring Richmond and Wandsworth's IT services together. Yeah, at the moment there's over 25 projects within that overall programme umbrella. Most of those at this stage are infrastructure projects, in terms of how we bring the actual sort of data centres together, how we roll out common office software. We're going for Office 365. How we share key documents in the future. At the moment, we still use the old-fashioned sort of file shares and things. We are looking to update that with a slicker model that brings all the sort of advantages of version control and efficient storage, and allows people to actually collaborate more effectively on documents and make sure they're looking at the right versions. There's also a whole raft of projects around how we bring the various line of business applications together. So we're actually exploring the market at the moment. We're looking at the market capability, the art of the possible, like I said earlier on, in order to actually, really, so we can make informed decisions about how we choose applications in the future. Mm-hmm. Critical mission critical line of business applications to serve the key council functions. Discussions on those things are still at a fairly embryonic stage, but they are very much on the radar. We have senior support. We've had our director board, put their weight behind that. They've endorsed that. We have got a number of projects that are actually going to really explore those in earnest, starting in the next probably 3 or 4 months. There's a number of facets to it. There's the transactional side, where people need to transact with us for certain services. There's the collaboration side, in terms of how residents of both boroughs collaborate with us in the future. So those are two sort of customer-facing dimensions of it. There's also a dimension which often gets overlooked, which is the internal transactions and collaboration, i.e., the workforce itself. The combined workforce will be some 5,000 people. Yeah, they'll want a good experience as well. Yeah, in order to make them more productive. Yeah, it's important that with shrinking budgets and reducing headcounts, that we actually make the headcount that we do have more productive. And if they haven't got the right tools to be productive, then that's going to actually impact on your overall organisational effectiveness in terms of our ability to deliver good services in turn to the real customers, the external customers. Most of our immediate needs are aren't really sort of cutting edge. Yeah. As an organisation, councils don't need to be cutting edge. Yeah, we don't need to be sort of, we don't need to be excellent in everything we do. We just need to be good enough in a lot of things. It's not a very, that's not a very sexy message, but it's the reality of being in public sector. Yeah, we don't, there's certain things that we need to be good at. Other things we probably just need to be good enough at. Yeah, so we need to very much target the things that really matter, yeah, and really what matters for people who consume the sorts of services that we offer is, do those services work, yeah? Do they get what they want and no more? Are they being, are we giving them sort of extra steps to go through that aren't necessary? So we will be looking at technologies that sort of enable us to deliver those sorts of really good, seamless, slick end user experiences, and deliver those as quickly as we can. So we will be, if there's functional, if there's technology out there that allows us to construct electronic forms that can do that sort of thing, we will be using that. We'll want people to have a consistent experience when they're registering for and accessing to council services online. Bit of work to do there, yeah. But that's important as well. If people are having to register for different services in different ways, that's quite frustrating. We want people to register once and be able to get access to whatever services they need after that, yeah, without having to re-register. Have a clear vision about where you want to go. Yeah. Discuss that with everyone who's got a vested interest in what you're doing. Yeah. There's a tendency for things sometimes to be very IT-centric. Yeah, you've got to really get the business dimension in, and put everybody in a room, for half a day, get them to really, thrash out a proper vision, which they all are prepared to sign up to. That's the first thing. The second thing is, don't just lend your support to it really at the start. You need sustained support from the business. What you find a lot of the time is very senior people lend their support initially. But then, they don't sustain that over time, yeah, especially when you run into difficulties. And that's when you need their support, as well as having it up front. You do need it all the way through the process to drive it through to successful completion. So make sure you've got proper governance in place. Can't stress that enough, yeah. And make sure everyone's role in that governance model is clear.